The Des Moines police didn't know what to charge me with. I was found wandering Interstate 80 at 5 in the morning, soaking wet and coughing up black silt. The problem wasn't that I was 200 miles away from where I'd stood 4 hours earlier. The problem was that the medical exam showed my lungs were filled with water from a lake that hasn't existed since 1992. I told them I caught the midnight bus. They told me that bus has been at the bottom of a swamp for 30 years.
It was 12:15 a.m. in Chicago when the call came. My mom's voice was a jagged whisper. My dad had a stroke. I didn't have a car, and the last Greyhound West had pulled out 20 minutes prior. I sprinted to the terminal anyway, my heart hammering a rhythm of pure desperation. The station was a tomb. Cold, blue fluorescent lights flickered over empty benches. No buses until 6 a.m. I sat there, buried in my hood, feeling the weight of the silence. Then, a man sat down next to me. He was wearing a stone-washed denim jacket and Reeboks, the kind of stuff my dad wore in old Polaroids. He didn't look at his phone. He didn't even have one. He just checked a heavy brass wristwatch and sighed.
Late as usual. The 1992 Midnight Express never was on time.
I thought he was joking, but then, out of a fog so thick it looked like glowing pea soup, 2 dim yellow headlights appeared. It wasn't a modern bus. It was an old MCI classic. Silver sides, corrugated metal, and a destination sign that flickered in a shaky orange glow. Lincoln Novaresco. The doors hissed open with a sound like a dying breath. I didn't care that the bus looked like a museum piece. I just needed to get home. I stepped up into the cabin, and the temperature dropped 40 degrees. It smelled like mothballs and damp earth. The bus was full. Every seat was occupied by people staring straight ahead. No one was talking. No one was sleeping. They were all dressed in neon windbreakers, high-waisted jeans, and flannel shirts. Their skin, it was the color of a fish's belly, pale, bloodless, and slightly translucent. I found a seat in the back. I tried to catch the eye of the girl in the seat across from me. She was wearing a neon pink windbreaker and holding a Walkman. But as we hit a pothole, her head lolled back, and I realized her headphones weren't plugged into anything. They were fused into her skin. I closed my eyes, praying it was just the exhaustion playing tricks on me. I must have drifted off. When I woke up, the engine's rattle had stopped. The silence was absolute. I looked out the window. We weren't on the interstate. We were parked on a crumbling dirt embankment right on the edge of a black, mirror-still lake. I turned to the man in the denim jacket to ask what was happening. The seat was empty. I looked up the aisle. The entire bus was empty. The driver's seat was a rusted skeleton of springs and wire. The floorboards were covered in thick, black mud. I was sitting in a rotting wreck that looked like it had been underwater for decades. I scrambled out the door, my boots sinking into the muck. That's when I heard the splashing. They were in the lake, dozens of them. The passengers. They weren't swimming, they were just bobbing. Their clothes were waterlogged, dragging them down, but their heads stayed above the surface. In perfect unison, they turned toward me.
Join us, Elias. We're finally home.
They started wading toward the shore. Their movements were slow, jerky, like they were fighting the weight of the water in their lungs. I didn't wait. I turned and ran into the black wall of the forest, hearing the wet slap, slap, slap of bare, bloated feet hitting the mud behind me. The police found me fainted near a highway ramp at 5 a.m. They told me I'd traveled 200 miles in 4 hours, on foot. Physically impossible. A week later, I went back to that bus station. I asked the old janitor about the Midnight Express. He turned pale and crossed himself. He told me that in November 1992, a charter bus lost its brakes and plunged into Blackwater Lake. 24 passengers died. The bus was never recovered. The lake was too deep, the mud too thick. I looked in the mirror this morning. My skin, it's starting to look pale, gray, and every time I take a breath, I can taste the silt and the weeds. I think the bus is still coming for me. I think I'm still on the manifest.